Good day, everybody. One of our questions today is why is there so much conflict? Why does there appear to be so much conflict, dissension, disagreement in our world? It's really a troubling circumstance. If you look back 50, 75 years ago, there seemed to be a bit more unhappiness. This does not mean, of course, that there weren't challenges, that some people weren't treated as well as they could have. Some people didn't have opportunities like they should have. But there did seem to be a bit more peace, contentment, at least in society in general. Today, in nearly any parts of the world, there tends to be more contention, and I would even say more unhappiness. What causes that? What causes the subsequent conflict that seems to arise from that? There's several reasons for that, at least in my viewpoint. Some are easy to overcome, and some may never be overcome. First is we live in an era of diminishing resources, with higher expectations and lower realizations. What does that mean? That means that 50, 75 years ago, after World War II and thereafter, the prospects looked great for an improving economy, a better future. And for 30 and 40, even 50 years after the war, that seemed to come to promise. See great strides in terms of incomes, retirements, health cares, and many more people were able to enjoy the American dream, which is a rising standard of living. But somewhere around the 1980s, late 70s, 80s, international competition came in, and the economic engine started to slow down. Not only that, we didn't make those new industries or products that created a middle-class job for a wide swath of the American public, in fact, throughout the world. Instead, more and more of our jobs went overseas to lower wage countries. And a middle class that was raised on an escalating standard of living, wages that went up every year, retirement that was paid for by the employer, and benefits that were largely increasing as well, started to see those not only slow, but to fade. Whereas today's generation, just starting out into the workplace, is not going to receive anything near the retirements, health cares, and even the salaries that the previous generations did. So when you have an era of diminishing realization, a realization that you may not make it as well as your parents, when resources are going to be more constrained, in fact, you're going to have to fight more for whatever resources there is, it stands to reason that there's going to be more conflict. Second, it's very much a blame type of society. What we mean by that is it seems like if you don't make it, we're learned to find out why. And that why reason is always because of somebody else. Whereas, again, going back 50, 75, 100 years ago, even with the founding of the United States, there was this rugged self-interest type attitude, which means that if you made it on your own. If you didn't make it, because you had a lack of effort, a lack of willpower, lack of fortitude. But whatever you lacked, it was internal. It was something within yourself. Now it appears that there's somebody that you can blame, nearly anybody, for your challenges in life, for your lot in life. And so, as we see that our expectations of obtaining something better have diminished, we now see that we want to make it, but we often can't. And we look to blame somebody else. Whether it's a corporation, whether it's a manager, whether it's our neighbor, whether it's somebody who's more wealthy than us, or increasingly just the government in general, or society. We look for somebody to say, aha, no reason I can't make it. It's because of somebody else. It's not necessarily my lack of effort or that I don't want to move to get a better job, or I don't want to get back to school to get a second or third degree, or that I don't want to get a second job. It's just that the odds are against me. They're stacked against me. No matter what I can do, I still can't make it. Most of us know that's absolutely not true. And lastly, I would say what I call the somebody disease, which means that you want to be a somebody. And you'll take down, do anything against anyone in order to be that somebody. There's a belief that you can only be a somebody if you take it from somebody else. And that's not the case. It's the rare circumstance that somebody becomes rich and somebody else can't become rich too. Or somebody becomes famous and that doesn't mean that no one else can become famous. The appetite for success is great, but so is the ability to reach that appetite. No matter any type of industry, position, or profession that you choose, one person's success almost never precludes somebody else from having a success. So we shouldn't begrudge, bemoan our fate, or state that we can't become successful because somebody else has become successful. It rarely happens. So the conflict that we see in our life today, folks, is really more of our own choosing than the circumstances in which we live. Yes, we may have diminishing resources, but there's enough resources to make a success. It's hard to read a newspaper or a magazine and not find somebody who hasn't made a success out of whatever circumstances they have in our life. Second is, one person's success doesn't preclude somebody else from having a success either. Your success is determined by your effort, not by the efforts of others. And it leaves us with this thought. If we concentrate more on our own self, if we concentrate on our own happiness, we'll find out that we'll reach our own success. We'll be proud of what we've done. And along that road, we'll also be proud of what other people have done as well. We'll no longer be jealous or envious of anybody who has anything more than us. Because anybody who has more than us, will have learned, deserved it. Because just as we deserved our own rewards, they deserve theirs as well. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the day.